Alright guys, what's up? I am back with a brand new video, and we're going to be discussing what IGN actually put up, and that is a recent video that I'm actually really interested in, and I never really watched a lot of IGN stuff ever since. So this time I'm actually choosing their top 10 fighting games. I don't remember if this went up after the events of EVO, or if this was before, but after everything that was super excited about EVO, all the announcements and the craziness that happened with Street Fighter V, and a whole lot more to that, I figure this time I want to see what their picks was, because I've seen Mojo's Watch Mojo's video, and now I'm actually curious on what IGN really thinks on their pick of top 10 fighting games. So this is definitely a subject that is related to me, because I love the fighting game world, and I want to try to get back into posting a whole lot more than what I used to do before, but I gotta find the personal time to do it. But I got time to do this, so let's check this out, see what this is all about.
Prepare to strike now.
Fighting games have a special place in both the past and present of gaming. It's a genre that requires quick thinking, twitch reflexes, and vast amounts of knowledge of both yourself and your opponent's options to play at a high level. It can often seem intimidating, but some of the most recognizable series in pop culture, such as Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, belong to that same genre. So for our deliberations in assembling this list, we've laid out some special criteria. We've excluded platform fighters such as the Smash Brothers series, as that's important enough to be a list on its own. We only have one game representing each series, and while legacy can play a big part, they must offer robust mechanics and still be fun to play today. Here's our list
of the top 10
at EVO,
fighting
games.
I saw that. Top 10, huh?
He must win.
Okay.
Mortal
Kombat 9 is actually a really good one. I'll agree with this one. When this first was announced, it was a spectacular thing that Mortal Kombat is coming back. Had a fantastic roster, a very fun roster. The very beginning of the online play, which was laggy, but I remember having a few matches against people that was still fun, because we were just excited that a Mortal Kombat game was coming out, and that it was here in our own houses, and it was all there. This game had a great story mode, a very long story mode. This was a huge fan service video game, not just bringing it back, but just everything that they wanted, it's in this game. So
Kombat 9 marked a turning point in the history of MK. It was a reboot, not just of its story, but of everything that defined Mortal Kombat over the years. Puzzle combat, motor combat, and weird creative fatalities were all gone in lieu of a back-to-basics approach that focused on the actual combat above all else. It turned out to be the best possible decision for the series, because Mortal Kombat 9 brought the legendary fighting series back from the brink, thanks to its excellent story mode, copious amounts of fan service, and redone mechanics that laid the foundation for subsequent games to follow. It certainly was not the most balanced fighting game in the world, but that was part of its charm, and its imperfections are actually one of the reasons why many fans still prefer MK9 over 10 and 11 to this day.
You are not ready for what you are about to face.
Even just a passing glance at Skullgirls in motion.
I have tons of fun with Skullgirls. One of the very first games to learn what rollback netcode was all about, things like that. So it never was Third Strike for the start when I learned about online, not until I discovered Maximilian and like him explaining like why rollback netcode was all about. But me personally discovering other games that have rollback netcode, such as Skullgirls, such as Third Strike, Strive Now, the Power Rangers game, Marvel Infinite, tons of great games. Either they look bad or they look great, that show the reason why rollback netcode is extremely important. And Skullgirls is one of them. I mean, I love playing that game online. I ain't the best, but overall, and the art was what sold me too. The art and the music. I mean, Big Band was just so fun.
We'll tell you that this isn't your average indie fighting game, but there's more to Skullgirls than just its looks. Skullgirls has one of the most flexible fighting game systems ever made. Every character has a ton of different combo routes, and you can play as a solo character with increased health and damage, a balanced duo team, or fill up your squad with 3 characters that are weaker, but offer the advantage of extra assists and combo extensions. Add in memorable character design, art style, and music on top of silky smooth gameplay and net play, and it's no wonder Skullgirls still thrives 10 years later.
It's go time, baby.
Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown was the final arcade and console iteration of Sega's premier 3D fighter, and Ultimate Showdown rebuilt the game on Yakuza's Dragon engine for modern.
Sure. You know, I didn't personally grow up with Virtua Fighter. I knew that existed. But I grew up with Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Tekken. And I didn't hear about Virtua Fighter till Virtua Fighter 4. And then never got a chance to play it, but I just heard about it. And then Virtua Fighter 5 having its remake, basically bringing back the excitement of why people love Virtua Fighter, and made me a fan of the how different it is. And a few videos that I made, and just the kind of simple playing but kind of felt complex, but I was a new player to the whole thing, and I still had fun with it. And I don't remember, yeah, and it had good online play. I remember actually having good online play, and there was barely any lag. And if you never played a Virtua Fighter, this is one to start with, to get a groove of it, and help support the awareness of wanting a brand new Virtua Fighter.
Modern consoles, often credited with greatly influencing or even creating the 3D fighter genre, Virtua Fighter is foundational to video games. The likes of Yu Suzuki, creator of Shenmue and Space Harrier, and Toshihiro Nagoshi, longtime head of the Yakuza series, helped craft a series focused on grounded martial arts, vast movement, attack, and counter options, and characters that became instantly iconic. Virtua Fighter 5 represents the peak of this design, with gameplay that still feels true to its roots, yet distinct from any other fighter out there, and improves on the series' online features. And although some single-player offerings have been removed from earlier versions of Virtua Fighter 5, Ultimate Showdown is the easiest way to play the latest entry on modern hardware. With incredibly high ceilings for execution, such as moves that require input windows as small as 1/60th of a second, and characters that are fun to just mash buttons on, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is a must-play for fans of 3D fighters and the genre as a whole.
Better run home to Mama now.
That's funny. Yes. Okay. You know what? I would put, honestly, Killer Instincts, for me personally, my top 5. Okay. Based on music, it's music, characters, and online play. I mean, the game did everything right. It's the promises that every single fighting competitor and just person that loves to create content, anybody that loves fighting games, Killer Instinct did everything correct. Although, why is it number 7 when I feel like it should be like number 3? Oh, no, number 4, maybe? But it's on here, and that's what matters.
2013's Killer Instinct proved the series was more than the Mortal Kombat imitator some claimed it to be. It was one of the first mainstream fighting games to integrate rollback netcode, and its online play is still among the smoothest around. Its dojo mode is the best teaching tool the genre has ever seen. It doesn't just teach you how to play Killer Instinct, it teaches you how to play fighting games, full stop, and is required reading for anyone trying to learn the genre. What's more, Killer Instinct is packed with great single-player content, and no matter how you play it, it looks great and has a killer soundtrack by Mick Gordon. But whether you're yelling along with the announcer while pulling off an ultra combo, landing a perfectly timed combo or counter breaker, or just learning a new character in training mode, Killer Instinct feels great to play and has the technical depth any great fighter needs while remaining unique. Now, if only Microsoft would release a sequel.
I'm motivated.
It definitely needs a sequel.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay. Truthfully, Marvel 3 is cool. It's amazing. I have a feeling it's on here because it's technically like the last feeling of a real Marvel game ever since Marvel, of course, Marvel 2. Well, everybody, including myself, really want Marvel 2 to come back to consoles, and it's coming back as an arcade machine. Which, boy, is very, 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 very freaking tempting to get. Marvel 3 is fun, but it did not start off fun, especially for online. And the fact that almost everything was broken, and I would say that's the argument for me, is not that every character was broken. It's the fact that you can get creative with so many people, so many of the characters. You can combine your low tiers to your high tiers. A group that's like, wait, this is a group that you play with. Like, is like, does this work? And then you just get dominated, and you're just going, okay, I guess so. I guess it does work. Does it work on anybody else? Okay, it did it on him. It doesn't just work on me. It works on a lot of other people. But Marvel 2 has the better roster because it's almost over 50 characters. But Marvel 3 was a very pretty style with its comic book way, its comic book style art, and I'll give it that way.
3 is set apart by its character balance, or lack thereof, and team construction. Many of the characters are broken in a way that only Marvel can get away with, and being able to put 3 of these characters together, each with one of 3 assist options in varying orders, creates a sandbox of possibilities. You can be in complete control as you perfectly execute an infinite combo 1 game, and question your life decisions as you're stuck blocking Soul Fist non-stop without having a chance to move the next game. You can start a game off with a mix-up leading to a death combo, mix up your opponent's next character into another death combo, and make one execution error on the third character just to watch your whole team die to a level 3 X Factor comeback. It's brutal and unforgiving, but that feeling of being all-powerful is worth it. It's fast, flashy, and the combo system is ridiculous. It will garner your attention and take you for a ride.
And that's honestly true, is that I remember when oh, we're about to get a freaking ad. I remember when Maximilian and Tasty Steve and everybody did the Twitch Rivals, and it was bringing back Marvel 3 2 years ago. It was phenomenal to watch because it showed that people still play this game to this day, either through the consoles or through most of the time through Parsec, and just have that fast online quality where it feels like they're just right next to you, like you're just playing couch, just playing right next to you while you're sitting on the couch. It's still fun to play, but I can't play it online. Not even when it was vanilla Marvel and then Ultimate, but it's still a great game. And the fact that you get satisfied when you get all powerful, and then your opponent is just like crap. But when it happens to you, you're like crap, and they feel great, and there's a balance to it. That's the balance. The game doesn't have balance, but the fun has balance. Alright. King of Fighters 13. Here comes this freaking ad. Be right back.
What does it feel like to handle a Ferrari? Pure pride and joy. When building the Lego Technic Ferrari Daytona SP3. Get closer to that real Ferrari experience.
And we're back.
The King of Fighters series has a number of great entries, with many choosing 98 and 2002 as their favorites, and 15 receiving a lot of love as the newest entry. However, for our money, it's KOF 13 that remains one of the best fighting games of all time. The super detailed pixel art, pace of play, and hyperdrive combo system all helped KOF have a resurgence in the competitive and casual fighting game scene that continues to this day. And although
Okay, so he said King of Fighters in general. Because if he said King of Fighters 13 still playing to this day, that'd be a little tough because I did not know about King of Fighters 13 because Marvel 3 happened. But when I heard about KOF 13, I was actually pretty blown away at the artistic choice because it actually did look good, or it does look good. I would consider it looking better than 14 when 14 started, and then 14 got a little better. 15 is looking spectacular, of course, to the just next gen graphics looks, but the art style of 13 is what's spectacular, what actually makes the game its own game.
Though the infamously difficult combo trials remain, they're not even necessary to use while playing. The characters, team-based combat, and beautiful animation keep this particular king on the throne. Not only is Dragon Ball FighterZ finally a good Dragon Ball game, but it's an amazing fighting game in its own right. The first thing you'll notice is the presentation. It is absolutely stunning to look at, and the sounds of haymakers, super dashes, and energy beams give the action the punch it really needs. You can freeze nearly any frame, and you might think it's straight from the anime. Combine its presentation with a deep roster of fan-favorite characters, 3v3 tag system, an approachable auto-combo system that makes doing flashy combos easy for beginners, and you have one of the most fun-to-play fighting games in recent memory, with competitive legs that still endure to this day. And with the recent announcement of rollback netcode, Dragon Ball FighterZ has a very bright future ahead of it.
That's what was extremely surprising at EVO, is that they didn't announce another season. They didn't announce any future coming to this game alone. It is getting rollback netcode, starting with PS5 and Xbox One Xbox Series users. And they'll be working on the last gen console users, such as myself, even though I have a PS5. But like, they're working on that. Although I don't know if it's gonna be a free I'm pretty sure they said free update. Remind me that for the PS5 and the Xbox Series is that they're gonna get rollback netcode, and I think once that comes, Dragon Ball FighterZ is gonna be right there with Killer Instinct as like the hypeness of it. It didn't start off the hype as KI did from the beginning because it already had the rollback netcode, had a small roster, and they would build. Dragon Ball had great stages, had great roster, just didn't have the great netcode of, as it started. But once it does, I feel like it's going to be it'll be a line just below KI, but it'll be a part of that great bracket. This looks like Tekken 7.
Tekken has always been known as one of the most difficult fighting game franchises. Its 3D movement adds layers of complexity, there are over 50 characters each with well over 100 moves apiece, and the simple act of moving backwards properly requires practice. Its depth and complexity make it every bit as demanding as it is rewarding, and those who put in the time will be rewarded. What sets Tekken 7 apart from other entries in the series, and earns it a spot here, is how much it improved in accessibility without cutting back on its depth. The series returning to 1v1 from the 2v2 format combat in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 cuts the amount of moves you need to remember in half, but all of the characters individually are just as complex as they were, if not more. Rage arts and rage drives are exciting comeback mechanics but will never beat out solid play. And while the slow-mo finishers don't change much of anything to the gameplay, they have created some of the hypest moments in tournaments.
And that's true. The whole slow motion is what really jumps me out of my seat anytime I'm playing with friends or I'm playing with people online. That slow motion is what really opens your eyes. It's way too good. It's way too good.
Tekken 7 hits the balance of attracting a new audience without alienating hardcore fans perfectly.
あらゆる不可能を可能とする本。人類に魔法をもたらし、未来を築いた。
The Guilty Gear series has been pumping out excellent fighting games for more than 2 decades, but Guilty Gear Strive is where Arc System Works' flagship title finally found mainstream success, and for good reason. Strive sports the best rollback netcode in the business, something that was largely unheard of in a mainstream fighter even a few years ago. But good netcode alone does not a great fighter make. Strive also refined the series' notoriously technical gameplay, making it easy to pick up and understand without losing the depth or the diversity of Guilty Gear's gonzo cast. Every single one of Strive's 20 characters, whether it's Series Poster Boy and Rushdown Monster Soul Bad Guy, or the coffin-swanging Gold Lewis Dickinson, plays completely differently from one another. So there's an enormous amount to learn and discover even if you only play a single character. Add in Roman cancels, which lets you cancel any action into another action, and Strive has an almost limitless level of player freedom and expression. Combine all that with an excellent story mode, detailed teaching tools, tons of concept art and customization options to unlock, a rockin' soundtrack spanning nearly every game in the franchise, and some of the most impressive visuals in the genre, and it's easy to see why Strive has taken the fighting game community by storm.
Yeah, big time. Come back to this later. Hugely, Strive is a great game for the newcomers to come into fighting games. It's a awesome one to start with because it's for a lot of characters that can be complicated in the roster and some characters that can be very, very simple to play. A lot of Guilty Gear Strive is something that I really adore. I really adore playing. I mean, Giovanna is like my top favorite, and that's a brand new character. I love coming back to crap. I love. Oh, this is. Oh, somebody's gonna hate me for this one. I'm definitely hating myself. Biken. We saved it. Biken is one of the characters, at least when she made the comeback as a DLC character for the second time. She's still iconic. Not just, of course, for her look, but her fighting, her gameplay is what's really cool. And they added something completely new for her that is fun to do. And she was always a perfect example of being a complicated playing character, but once you figure her out, she's a whole lot of fun. And you get so good with it that you dominate with Biken. With Giovanna, she felt simple to start with. Kind of like if you were picking like Ryu and Ken for Street Fighter. She's kind of like right in there in that catalog. And then there's some things that I even discovered, or that somebody did to me when they were playing Giovanna, that they made a combination, and I was just like, I gotta learn that. No, gotta learn that. So here we go. This is obviously Third Strike.
Picking a single game to represent the most storied fighting game franchise was a tough ask. After all, Street Fighter II popularized the genre when it hit arcades in 1991, and Street Fighter IV resurrected it when it hit home consoles in 2009. But Street Fighter III Third Strike is something special. It gave us Evo Moment 37, the Daigo parry, and inspired an entire generation of players. But there's so much more to it than that. The sprite work is still some of the most beautifully animated around, the backgrounds ooze style, and the jazz-inspired soundtrack features some of the best music in any fighting game. Even the roster, underappreciated at the time because of how few characters carried over from Street Fighter II and how weird several of the characters are, holds up remarkably well, with options to suit any playstyle. But the real highlight is the parry system. The decision to make any attack, from Hadokens to Super Arts, parryable adds almost limitless depth to a series already renowned for it, while keeping it fairly easy to pick up and play for newcomers. Third Strike showed us what was possible, bringing the genre's most important series up to speed with its contemporaries while simultaneously elevating it to new heights. More importantly, all of it holds up today, something most games from 1999 can't say, and recent re-releases even support rollback netcode. Street Fighter III Third Strike is, quite simply, the greatest fighting game ever made.
I'll bet this guy that's talking about this is a Street Fighter Third Strike player. Or at least a fan of, like, the praise, honestly. And he's right. Third Strike is the best. It's the hardest Street Fighter to start with. That's what I believe. Street Fighter Third Strike is the hardest Street Fighter to play. And once you're good at 4, 2, 5, eventually 6, when you get so good at those games, Third Strike will feel easy. Like, I believe, like, within an instant. But if you start the other way, you start off with Third Strike and you get the you are struggling, but then you get good throughout the years, then every other Street Fighter game just becomes way too simple. It becomes way too simple. And this is what actually gets me excited for Street Fighter 6, is because they're bringing back the parry, although it's not really the same, but they're adding more jazzy pop to them, to the supers, to the parries, to even newer like super dashes or something like that. Way more active, like, meter moves in 6 that I've seen, that I am hoping so soon that there's a beta or demo. I know Tokyo Game Show is coming up, but I want there to be a beta or a demo that is available so I can get my hands on it and get super excited, because I am so pumped for it, because it's this game, Third Strike, one of the biggest reasons why Street Fighter is going back to that hip hop phase. And that's what I think 3 was. 3 was like that weird, but it had that hip hop feel to it. At least what Third Strike did. And 6 is bringing that back, and I'm very happy about that. You know, 5 was the rock and roll and the jazz, you know, instrumental stuff. 4 was like the techno, you know, like your house music feel to it, which was still good. And then there's Third Strike with its hip hop thing, and then 6 is coming back to it. So this is a good pick, and this deserves to actually be number 1. Would it be my number 1? Yes. Yeah, right there. Now for this entire, this is actually.
And there you have it, our choices for the top 10 fighting games of all time. Which games do you think belong on the list? Make sure to let us know in the comments below. And for everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Yeah, okay. So, for all the games that have been announced on this list, we had Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we had Mortal Kombat. Then we had Skullgirls. Then we had Virtual Fighter. Killer Instinct, Marvel 3, King of Fighters 13, Dragon Ball Fighters, what was this one? Tekken 7, Tekken 7, then Strive, and then Third Strike. Of all those picks, if I had to put my list together with these games, Mortal Kombat would be 10 for me. Skullgirls would be number 5. Virtua Fighter would be 9 for me because it's still brand new to me. Yeah. Let me go from 1 to 10 actually. Let me go from 1 to 10. So 1 would be Third Strike. 1 would be Third Strike. 2 would be Strive. So like the very last of the games that to the top ones make sense to me. So Third Strike, Strive, I'd say Skullgirls. I had to pick. If I really had to pick, I pick Marvel 3 as 4 for me, and then I would go Fighters, Dragon Ball Fighters. Let me switch this up because I totally forgot about KI. KI's 3. Skullgirls 4. 13 5. For Marvel's oh man, this is gonna be complicated. Marvel's 5. Virtual Fighters. Marvel is 5. Fighters is 6. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I'm going through like the little pictures. Yeah, I said KO 13. Yeah, and then Virtua. Yeah, Virtual Fighter would be 7. Tekken's 8. And Virtual Fighter's not Virtual Fighter 9, and then Mortal Kombat 10. That's my pick. In this video of these games, that's my lineup. Me personally. Just because of because it goes from experience to the fun that I've had with the games and the time that I've put into the games, and just the people that I've played against, sharing the excitement and the hype. And with a lot of people, I've had more hype with Third Strike, with Strive, and with KI, at least with the games that are at the top 5 of that list, than the rest of the game. Than the rest of the games, at least on this list that IGN put together. That's me. So, but this is a good list. I could probably think of other games, maybe, but then I'd be nitpicking at the reason. There probably a reason why these games are picked from IGN, because Watch Mojo's video was interesting with the picks, because at the same time it was about fan service, yet I guess the excitement as the games either started off bad to eventually just grew into something like incredible. So I have to remember what that pick was for, at least for Watch Mojo. But this was a good pick for what these games meant for and what they mean now. So yeah, that's a pretty dang good list. That's a pretty darn good list. Well, guys, that's honestly my reaction / discussion on this video. It's been quite a while since I've made a video like this. I don't really do it often unless it's part of a subject that I'm really into, and this is of course one of them. So this was actually kind of fun. It really opened up my mind and get to learn a little bit more than, of course, of the choices of these games. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys like things like this, either it's fighting games or other genres of the world that you enjoy that maybe I enjoy as well. So I would love to discuss that with you as well. Just leave a comment in the below the video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Like it if you haven't liked it. And if you did not like this video, that's okay. You have your right to choose. So thank you guys for watching. My name is Vince, and I'll see you guys next time.